Ladies and gentlemen, when a man is truly serious about you, you won't have to guess. The truth of his commitment is not hidden in cryptic messages or fleeting moments of affection. It is displayed in his actions, in his discipline, in the way he builds a future that includes you at its core. Too often, people get caught in the illusion of words, in the promises of someday, in the inconsistency of hot and cold behavior. But real commitment is not romantic fantasy. It is work. It is responsibility. It is a deep, unwavering decision that withstands pressure, doubt, and difficulty. A man who is serious about you does not place you in a world of uncertainty. He does not leave you second-guessing his intentions or questioning your worth. He stands firm, even in the face of his own fears, because he understands that commitment is not just about how he feels in the moment, it is about who he chooses to become in the long run. And if he is truly invested in you, he will build a foundation that is rooted in trust, respect, and an undeniable sense of purpose. But how do you recognize such a man? How do you distinguish between fleeting attraction and profound dedication? If you don't know the signs, you may find yourself trapped in endless cycles of hope and disappointment. That is why it is critical to understand the deeper psychology of commitment. To recognize when a man is not just speaking of a future with you, but actively creating one. The strength of a relationship is not determined by words whispered in moments of passion, but by the consistency of actions taken over time. When a man is serious about you, his intentions are not ambiguous. He moves with a clarity that is almost unshakable because he understands what he values and why he values. In relationships, this often translates into action, consistent, deliberate action. He does not leave his feelings up to chance or fleeting emotions. He sees you as a significant part of his life, not just as someone to share fleeting moments with, but as someone to build a future alongside. And this mindset reveals itself in ways that are impossible to overlook when you understand what to look for. A man who is serious about you demonstrates it through his willingness to take on responsibility. Responsibility is not just about fulfilling obligations, it is about embracing the weight of a relationship. It is about showing up even when it is inconvenient, difficult, or uncomfortable. When a man is truly serious, he doesn't avoid the hard conversations or the challenging moments. He faces them because he knows that avoiding them erodes trust. Trust is the cornerstone of any meaningful connection, and without it, there is no foundation to build on. A man like this also prioritizes your well-being. And this goes beyond gestures of affection. It involves considering how his decisions impact you and your future together. He doesn't act recklessly or make choices that could jeopardize the relationship. Instead, he seeks to protect and nurture what the two of you are building. This kind of care isn't always grand or dramatic. It's often found in the small, consistent actions that say, "You matter to me, what we have matters to me." There's also a certain emotional steadiness in someone who is serious about you. He doesn't pull you into cycles of emotional highs and lows or leave you questioning where you stand. Emotional consistency is a powerful sign of maturity and commitment. It shows that he is not driven solely by the intensity of his feelings, but by his understanding of the importance of stability. This kind of steadiness fosters a sense of safety and trust, which are essential for any relationship to thrive. When a man respects you, it's evident in how he speaks to you and about you, even when you're not around. Respect isn't conditional or reserved for moments when things are going well. It is consistent. A man who is serious about you won't belittle you in arguments or speak of you dismissively to others. He recognizes that his words carry weight, and he uses them to uplift, not to harm. This respect extends to how he listens to you, values your input, and treats your aspirations as equally important as his own. Another critical sign is the way he includes you in his vision for the future. A man who is serious about you doesn't just talk about a future. He plans for it with you in mind. This doesn't necessarily mean grand plans for years ahead, but it does mean that he considers your place in his life when making decisions. Whether it's as simple as planning the next weekend or as significant as discussing long-term goals, his actions reveal that he sees you as part of the picture. Perhaps one of the most revealing signs is how he responds to adversity. It's easy to show commitment when things are going well, but true dedication is tested during moments of difficulty. When life becomes challenging, a serious man doesn't retreat or place blame. He confronts the issues head on, not just for his sake, but for the sake of the relationship. He shows that he is willing to work through challenges and grow from them, rather than allowing them to drive a wedge between you. Ultimately, a man who is serious about you proves it through his actions. Words may be compelling, but they are not enough. His behavior speaks louder than any promise, and it is through these actions that his intentions become clear. If a man is truly serious, you will not be left wondering or second-guessing his feelings. You will feel secure in the knowledge that his commitment is genuine and that he values you deeply. It's essential to recognize these signs because settling for anything less can lead to years of unnecessary confusion and heartache. When you understand what true commitment looks like, you can set your standards accordingly. This is not about expecting perfection, but about recognizing the difference between fleeting interest and lasting dedication. A man who is serious about you will not just say he cares, he will demonstrate it through his actions, his choices, and the way he treats you over time. This kind of clarity is not only empowering, but also transformative. It allows you to navigate relationships with confidence, knowing that you are seeking the kind of partnership that is rooted in respect, responsibility, and shared vision. It challenges you to hold yourself to a higher standard as well, to ensure that you are bringing the same level of commitment and intentionality to the relationship. Because a meaningful connection is not built by one person alone, it requires both individuals to invest wholeheartedly. So pay attention to the actions of those you allow into your life. Observe whether they are consistent, whether they prioritize your well-being, and whether they demonstrate respect and responsibility. These are the hallmarks of someone who is serious about you, and when you find such a person, you will know that you have something worth holding on to, something that can withstand the challenges of life and continue to grow stronger over time. When a man is truly serious about you, one of the clearest signs is the way he invests his time. And this isn't just about being physically present, it's about being mentally, emotionally, and spiritually engaged. Time is the most valuable resource any of us have. It is finite. It cannot be reclaimed once spent. And how someone chooses to allocate their time speaks volumes about their priorities. When a man makes a conscious effort to be with you, to share his world with you, to listen and understand you, he is demonstrating that you are a priority, not an afterthought. But here's the critical distinction. It's not just about the quantity of time, it's about the quality. Anyone can be around another person, physically present but mentally absent, distracted, or disengaged. A man who is serious about you does not merely occupy space in your life, he fills that space with meaning. He engages in conversation with depth. He asks questions that reveal a genuine curiosity about your thoughts, your experiences, and your aspirations. He remembers details that matter to you, not because he has to, but because he wants to. His time with you is not transactional, it is intentional. This kind of presence is rare. It's easy to get caught up in the distractions of modern life, to allow endless streams of notifications, deadlines, and personal ambitions to pull focus away from relationships. But a man who is serious about you does not let these things interfere with what he values most. He does not make excuses about being too busy, because he understands that being busy is not an excuse, it's a choice. People make time for what they truly value, and if he consistently prioritizes everything else over you, then you are not what he values most. You will notice this commitment in the small details. It's in the way he puts his phone away when you're talking, fully immersing himself in the conversation. It's in the way he makes plans with you and follows through, not canceling at the last minute or leaving things vague. It's in the way he takes the time to understand what makes you happy, what makes you anxious, what excites you, and what you fear. A man who is serious about you does not treat your presence in his life as a convenience, he treats it as a privilege. Consistency is another key component. Anyone can be attentive for a short period when everything is new and exciting. But what happens when the novelty fades? What happens when life becomes routine or when stress enters the equation? A man who is serious about you does not let consistency fade with time. He understands that real commitment is not about grand gestures in the beginning stages. It is about steady, unwavering presence over time. He doesn't show up only when it's easy. He shows up when it's hard. He shows up when you need him. even when it's inconvenient for him. This level of commitment extends beyond just your relationship. It affects how he structures his own life. A man who is serious about you will also be serious about himself, his goals, and his future. He will not be aimless. He will have a direction, a sense of purpose, and a drive to build something meaningful. And he will want you to be part of that journey. He will make space for you in his plans and his long-term vision because he sees a future with you as something valuable, not just something optional. One of the most telling signs is whether he includes you in his world. Does he integrate you into his life, or does he keep you separate? A man who is serious about you does not compartmentalize you, keeping you isolated from his family, his friends, and his ambitions. Instead, he brings you into his circle, not only because he values your presence, but because he is proud to have you by his side. He introduces you to the people who matter to him, because you matter to him. And he doesn't just talk about the future in abstract terms, he takes steps to build it with you. But here's an important distinction. True commitment is not about losing oneself in another person. A man who is serious about you does not expect you to abandon your own dreams, your own aspirations, or your own individuality. He does not want you to shrink yourself to fit into his world. Instead, he wants to grow with you. He wants to support your ambitions just as much as he hopes you will support his. He sees the relationship as a partnership, a mutual journey towards something greater than either of you alone. This is why time and consistency are so important. Words are easy. Promises can be made in moments of passion or excitement, but only time reveals the truth of a person's intentions. A man who is serious about you will prove it not with empty assurances, but with continuous action. He will not leave you in a state of doubt, questioning where you stand or whether you are truly valued. Instead, he will make it unmistakably clear through the way he prioritizes you, engages with you, and commits to you. So observe the patterns. Pay attention not only to what is said, but to what is done over time. True seriousness is demonstrated through action, through consistent prioritization, and through the conscious investment of time. A man who is serious about you does not make you feel uncertain. He does not make you question your worth. He makes you feel chosen every single day, not because he has to, but because he wants to. A man who is truly serious about you will protect you not just physically, but emotionally, psychologically, and even spiritually. Protection in its truest form is not about control, dominance, or treating you as weak. It is about standing guard over what is valuable, recognizing that love is not just a feeling but a responsibility. A man who takes you seriously does not expose you to unnecessary harm. He does not put you in situations where your dignity, your peace, or your emotional well-being are threatened. He understands that to love someone means to shield them, not by making them dependent or fragile, but by ensuring they feel safe in his presence. There's something deeply biological about this instinct, something ancient, something wired into the very fabric of human nature. Throughout history, men have been the protectors of their tribes, their families, their loved ones. And while the threats have changed over time from predators in the wilderness to the complexities of modern society, the fundamental principle remains. A man who truly cares for you will not allow you to face unnecessary harm. He will step in when you are vulnerable. He will defend you when others speak ill of you. He will ensure that his words and actions do not create anxiety or instability in your life. Protection extends beyond the physical. It includes how he speaks to you and about you. A man who takes you seriously does not use words as weapons. He does not degrade you, manipulate you, or gaslight you into doubting yourself. He does not use your insecurities against you, nor does he exploit your vulnerabilities for his own gain. Instead, he speaks to you with respect, even when emotions run high, even when you are in conflict. He recognizes that words have power. They can build or destroy. And because he values you, he chooses to use his words to strengthen rather than weaken you. It's in the small moments that you will see this kind of protection play out. It's in the way he notices when you are uncomfortable in a social setting and subtly adjusts the situation to make you feel at ease. It's in the way he defends you when someone tries to undermine or belittle you, refusing to be a passive bystander when you are mistreated. It's in the way he takes responsibility for the way his actions affect you. A man who is serious about you does not dismiss your concerns. He does not tell you that you are too sensitive or overreacting when something genuinely upsets you. Instead, he listens. He seeks to understand. He adjusts his behavior not because he is weak, but because he is strong enough to care about how his actions impact you. A man who is serious about you will also protect you from himself. This is crucial because not all harm comes from external sources. Some of the deepest wounds are inflicted by the very people we trust the most. A man who is truly committed to you is aware of his own flaws, his own capacity for selfishness, anger, indifference, and he actively works against them. He does not allow his worst impulses to become your burden. He does not lash out in anger and then justify it later. He does not use love as a tool for control, making you feel as though his affection is something you must earn. Instead, he exercises self-discipline. He chooses patience over frustration, accountability over excuses, and honesty over manipulation. This kind of protection also manifests in how he approaches the future with you. A man who is serious about you does not put you in situations where you are left vulnerable or uncertain. He does not play games with your emotions. He does not create an environment of inconsistency where you are constantly guessing whether he truly cares. He does not make you feel as though you are one misstep away from losing his love. Instead, he provides stability. He lets you know through both words and actions that he is here, that he is not going anywhere, that he values and respects the relationship you are building together. One of the most significant aspects of protection is loyalty. A man who takes you seriously does not entertain distractions. He does not cultivate relationships with other women in ways that compromise your trust. He does not flirt, seek attention, or leave doors open for other options. He understands that real commitment means closing those doors, not because he is forced to, but because he wants to. His loyalty is not just about physical faithfulness, it is about emotional fidelity as well. He does not seek validation from others in ways that make you feel secondary. He does not betray your trust, whether in public or in private. A man who is serious about you also protects your sense of self. He does not expect you to become someone you are not just to fit into his world. He does not demand that you shrink yourself, suppress your ambitions, or sacrifice your identity to make him feel more secure. Instead, he encourages your growth. He wants you to be the best version of yourself, not a lesser version that is easier for him to control. He supports your dreams, respects your autonomy, and challenges you in ways that help you evolve rather than diminish. And perhaps most importantly, he protects what you have built together. Relationships are not easy. They require effort, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to weather the storms that inevitably come. A man who is serious about you does not throw away what you have at the first sign of difficulty. He does not walk away when things get tough. He does not take what you have for granted. Instead, he fights for it. He fights for you. He understands that love is not just about passion or romance, it is about endurance, about standing firm when things are hard, about choosing each other again and again, every single day. A man who protects you is not just protecting you from harm, he is protecting the relationship itself, ensuring that it remains a place of safety, growth, and unwavering commitment. Because at the end of the day, real love is not about momentary excitement. It is about deep, abiding security. It is about knowing that no matter what happens, you have someone who stands with you, for you, beside you, and that is what it truly means to be serious about someone. A man who is truly serious about you will make you a priority not just in words, but in actions. And this is an important distinction because people often say what they think you want to hear, but their behavior ultimately reveals the truth. When a man is committed to you, he does not leave you questioning where you stand. He does not make you feel as though you are competing for his attention, nor does he create an environment of uncertainty where you are constantly waiting for him to decide if you matter enough. Instead, he integrates you into his life in a meaningful way. He makes time for you, not because he has to, but because he wants to. In a world full of distractions, where people are constantly pulled in 1,000 different directions, time is the most valuable thing anyone can give. And if a man consistently chooses to spend his time with you, to share his experiences, to invite you into his world, that is one of the clearest indicators that he sees you as more than just a temporary presence. He does not treat you as an afterthought. He does not expect you to accept scraps of his attention while he chases other priorities. He places you within the structure of his life, and you will know it because his actions make it obvious. He will not make excuses for his absence. He will not expect you to beg for his time or tolerate being pushed to the side whenever something more convenient arises. He will not disappear for days only to return when it suits him. Instead, he will show consistency. This is not just about grand gestures, it's about the small, everyday decisions he makes that demonstrate his commitment. He will check in with you even when life is busy. He will ensure that you feel valued, not as an obligation, but as a choice. And this matters because a man who is truly serious about you understands that relationships are not built on occasional intensity, but on sustained effort over time. A man who prioritizes you does not expect the relationship to revolve solely around his needs. He does not treat you as someone who exists to accommodate his schedule, his ambitions, or his convenience. He considers you when making decisions. He does not simply inform you of his plans, he includes you in them. You are not just a passive participant in his life, you are an essential part of it. This is crucial because when a man truly values you, he wants to build something with you, not just have you as an accessory to his journey. He sees the relationship as a partnership, one where both people matter equally. And this is where true emotional maturity comes in. A man who is serious about you does not keep you waiting indefinitely for a commitment that he has no intention of giving. He does not string you along, keeping you in a state of uncertainty while he weighs his options. He does not make you feel like you are in a constant state of proving your worth to him, as if you need to earn the right to be chosen. Instead, he makes his intentions clear. You do not have to guess where you stand because his actions align with his words. If a man tells you he is serious about you but behaves as though he is not, believe his behavior. It is easy for people to make excuses, to say they are too busy, that timing is not right, that they need to figure things out. But the reality is people make time for what matters to them. A man who is serious about you will find a way, not an excuse. He will show up, not sporadically, not only when it is convenient, but consistently. And that consistency builds trust. It creates a foundation where you feel secure, where you do not have to question whether his interests will suddenly fade. The way a man prioritizes you also extends to how he handles conflict. A man who is serious about you does not withdraw the moment things become difficult. He does not disappear when challenges arise. He does not leave you feeling as though the entire responsibility of maintaining the relationship falls on your shoulders. Instead, he stays present. He engages, he works through issues, even when it is uncomfortable, because he understands that real relationships are not just about enjoying the good moments, but about navigating the difficult ones together. A man who prioritizes you will also respect your time. He will not expect you to put your life on hold for him. He will not ask you to sacrifice your own goals, dreams, or well-being just to accommodate his whims. Instead, he will support you. He will encourage you to pursue your ambitions, to develop your strengths, to continue growing as an individual. A man who truly values you does not see your success as a threat, he sees it as something to be celebrated. He does not need you to shrink yourself to make him feel more secure. And perhaps most importantly, when a man is serious about you, he does not treat your presence as something to be taken for granted. He does not assume that just because you care for him, you will always be there no matter how he behaves. He recognizes that love, respect, and trust must be continually nurtured. He does not become complacent, assuming that he no longer has to put in effort because he already has you. Instead, he appreciates you, and that appreciation is reflected in the way he treats you every single day. At the core of all of this is one fundamental truth: if someone truly cares, they will act like it. And if they do not act like it, then they do not care as much as they claim. It is not enough for a man to say he loves you. Love is not a feeling. It is a verb. It is demonstrated through choices, through effort, through the way he consistently prioritizes you, not just in the moments that are easy, but in the ones that truly matter. Because in the end, real commitment is not about grand declarations. It is about the day-to-day decisions that build a life together. And when a man is truly serious about you, you will not have to wonder, you will know. When a man is truly serious about you, his actions will be deliberate, intentional, and unwavering. There will be no ambiguity in his commitment, no space for confusion or doubt. People can say anything, they can craft the most beautiful words, weave together poetic promises, and paint a future so vivid that it feels real. But in the end, words are cheap. What matters is behavior. How does he show up in your life? How does he treat you when no one is watching? How does he prioritize you when he has other obligations, challenges, and temptations? These are the questions that reveal the depth of his sincerity. A man who is serious about you will not engage in games of manipulation. He will not play with your emotions, testing your loyalty, seeing how much you can endure before you break. That is the behavior of someone who is unsure of himself, someone who is more interested in control than in love. A man who truly values you will never put you in a position where you feel uncertain about your worth in his life. He will not give you just enough attention to keep you around while keeping his options open. He will not make you compete for his time or leave you feeling like a backup plan. If he is serious, you will not feel like you are waiting for him to decide. If you are good enough, you will already know that you are. Respect is a cornerstone of a serious commitment. If he does not respect you, he does not love you, no matter what he claims. Respect is not about words, it is about how he listens to you, how he speaks to you, and how he treats you in both private and public settings. Does he take your thoughts seriously? Does he acknowledge your emotions rather than dismiss them? Does he consider your opinions even when they challenge his own? A man who sees a future with you will not seek to dominate or diminish you. Instead, he will see you as an equal partner, someone whose mind he values, someone whose presence enriches his life. There is no place for half-hearted effort in a serious relationship. A man who wants to build something meaningful with you will not be inconsistent. He will not appear when it suits him and disappear when he feels like it. He will not make you wonder if you are being strung along, if you are just another temporary figure in a life filled with distractions. Instead, he will create stability. He will be there, not just when it is easy, but when it is hard. He will show up, not just when he is in the mood, but because he understands that love is not a fleeting emotion, it is a commitment, a choice that must be reaffirmed daily through actions, not just words. A man who is truly serious about you will integrate you into his life in meaningful ways. He will not keep you at a distance, compartmentalizing you into a small section of his world while he builds the rest of his life separately. He will not keep you hidden, as though you are just an option rather than a priority. Instead, he will bring you into his circle, his friends, his family, his ambitions. He will make space for you, not as an accessory, but as an integral part of his journey. He will want you to know him deeply, not just the surface level version of himself, but the real, raw, unfiltered version. And in turn, he will want to know you fully. He will invest in understanding your fears, your dreams, your past, and your future. Accountability is another defining trait of a man who is serious about you. He will not evade responsibility when he makes mistakes. He will not shift blame or justify hurtful actions. Instead, he will own up to his shortcomings because he values the relationship more than his pride. A man who is truly committed to you does not seek to be right all the time. He seeks to grow, to improve, to build something stronger with you. He will acknowledge when he has been wrong, and he will make a genuine effort to be better. A serious man does not leave room for uncertainty. He does not leave you wondering where you stand. He does not keep you waiting for clarity that never comes. If he is serious, he will tell you, not just through words, but through the way he structures his life around you, through the consistency of his actions, through the depth of his respect, and through the effort he puts into the relationship. You will never have to beg for reassurance because he will provide it naturally through the way he treats you every day. Love is not about grand declarations, it is about quiet consistency. It is about the way he chooses to show up for you, even on the days when life is chaotic. It is about the way he prioritizes you, not as an obligation, but as a privilege. It is about the way he protects your heart, not by shielding you from the world, but by making sure that his actions never leave you feeling unimportant. A man who is serious about you does not take you for granted. He does not assume that you will always be there, no matter how he behaves. Instead, he appreciates you. He values you. He understands that relationships are not built on momentary passion, but on sustained commitment, on trust that is reinforced over time. The truth is, if a man wants you in his life, he will make it known. He will not leave you in a constant state of confusion. He will not make you chase after his affection. He will not make you feel like you have to earn his love through endless sacrifices. He will give you certainty. He will give you peace. And he will do this not because you begged for it, not because you demanded, but because that is simply what people do when they truly care. It all comes down to one simple reality. People make time for what matters to them. They invest in what they value. They nurture what they want to keep. If he is serious about you, you will not need to decode mixed signals or rationalize neglect. You will not need to fight for a place in his life. You will know, because he will make sure you do. A man who is truly serious about you will not just say the right words, he will embody them in every action, every choice, every decision he makes that involves you. Words are easy to manipulate, easy to shape into whatever the situation demands. But actions, they do not lie. A man's true intentions are always found in his behavior, in the way he shows up consistently, in the way he prioritizes you when life is pulling him in 100 different directions. If he is serious about you, you will not have to wonder. His commitment will be obvious in the way he respects you, in the way he treats you, in the way he builds his life with you rather than around you. There is no room for ambiguity when someone genuinely values you. A man who is unsure, who is still trying to decide whether or not you are worth his time, will leave you in a perpetual state of uncertainty. He will keep you close enough to maintain his own comfort, but distant enough to avoid true responsibility. He will make just enough effort to keep you around, but never enough to make you feel fully secure in the relationship. And that is not love. That is not commitment. That is self-interest disguised as romance. A man who is serious about you will not put you through that kind of emotional turmoil. He will not leave you second-guessing his intentions, because he will know that real commitment does not thrive in an atmosphere of doubt and hesitation. Consistency is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. It is not enough for a man to show you love when it is convenient, when everything in his life is calm and controlled. Anyone can be kind when they have nothing else demanding their attention. The real test is how he treats you when things become difficult, when stress mounts, when life becomes chaotic. Does he disappear when things get tough? Does he become distant when challenges arise? Or does he remain present, engaged, and willing to navigate those struggles with you? A man who is serious about you will not abandon you in moments of hardship. He will stand firm, not just because he wants you in his life, but because he respects the relationship enough to weather the storms alongside you. Respect is non-negotiable. A man who does not respect you does not truly love you. It does not matter how much passion there is, how strong the chemistry feels. If respect is absent, the relationship is doomed to be toxic. Respect is not just about how he speaks to you, but about how he listens. Does he truly hear what you are saying? Does he take your thoughts, feelings, and experiences into account? Or does he dismiss you, minimize your emotions, and make you feel small? A man who is serious about you will not belittle you, will not ignore your concerns, will not treat your opinions as secondary to his own. He will see you as a partner, an equal, someone whose presence in his life is not just a convenience, but a necessity. A man who truly sees a future with you will make space for you in his world. He will not keep you at arm's length, only allowing you access to certain parts of his life while keeping others hidden. If he is serious, he will integrate you into his daily existence. You will not be an afterthought, a side note in his story. You will be part of the narrative itself. His friends will know who you are. His family will be aware of your importance. His long-term plans will include you not as a possibility, but as a certainty. A man who is serious about you does not build his future alone. He builds it with you in mind, because he knows that true partnership requires shared vision and intentional effort. Accountability is crucial. A man who is serious about you will not shy away from responsibility when he makes mistakes. He will not manipulate, deflect, or shift blame. He will own his actions, acknowledge his shortcomings, and make real efforts to grow. A man who is unwilling to be accountable for his behavior is not ready for a serious relationship. He is looking for someone to tolerate his flaws without challenging him to improve. But love, real, deep, committed love, requires growth. It demands self-awareness. It asks for the humility to admit when one is wrong and the strength to make changes that support the health of the relationship. A man who is serious about you understands this. He does not avoid difficult conversations. He engages in them because he knows that strong relationships are built not on avoidance, but on understanding. The truth is, when a man is serious about you, you will not have to fight for his attention, his time, his respect. You will not have to beg for clarity or search for hidden meanings behind his words. His actions will make his intentions clear. He will be present. He will be consistent. He will respect you, prioritize you, and include you in the world he is building. And most importantly, he will never make you feel like you are standing on unstable ground, waiting for him to decide whether or not you are worth the effort. Because when a man truly values you, he already knows. When a man is truly serious about you, his actions will leave no room for doubt. You will not have to chase him, decipher mixed signals, or question your worth in his life. He will show up consistently, respect you deeply, and integrate you into his world without hesitation.